Welcome to the Learning Speaking English channel. Today I will tell you a story of a boy, his dream, his betrayal, and his rise. This is not just any story. It is a journey, one that speaks of courage, heartbreak, and determination. The story is called When You Are Betrayed. In a small quiet town, surrounded by fields and hills, lived a boy named Arjun. He was gentle, shy, and full of dreams. Among all his dreams, one stood above the rest. He wanted to speak English fluently. For him, English was not just a language. It was a doorway to confidence, to respect, to possibilities he had never imagined. In his school, students who spoke English were treated differently. They were admired, listened to, even feared a little. Arjun, with his soft voice and hesitant words, often stood in the corner, silently wishing to be like them. Every evening, after completing his homework, Arjun would sit under the large neem tree near his house. He carried an old, tattered English grammar book, one that had been passed down by his cousin. He read slowly, carefully. The sentences felt heavy. The pronunciations were unfamiliar. But there was a quiet fire inside him that refused to die. As months passed, Arjun's small world began to change when he joined a local tuition center. There, he met Rohit. Rohit was everything Arjun wanted to be. Confident, fluent, admired. He spoke English with such ease that even teachers would smile with pride when he answered. For Arjun, Rohit became not just a classmate but someone he looked up to. Their friendship began with a simple conversation after class. Rohit offered to help him improve. And for Arjun, this felt like a blessing. They started spending afternoons together. Rohit explained grammar rules. He taught Arjun how to pronounce difficult words. Sometimes, they would walk along the dusty lanes of their town, practicing small English sentences together. For the first time, Arjun felt hopeful. He began to believe that one day, he would stand confidently among others and speak. Weeks turned into months. Arjun's English slowly improved. He still made mistakes, but his hesitation began to fade. Encouraged by this growth, he decided to participate in the annual English elocution competition at school. It was his first time on stage, and he practiced every single day. He prepared a short speech titled The Power of Dreams. The day of the competition arrived. The school hall was filled with students, teachers, and parents. Arjun stood backstage, clutching his paper, his heart racing. Rohit walked up to him and patted his shoulder. "Don't worry," he said with a smile. "You'll be great." Those words gave Arjun strength. He took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. The bright lights hit his face. The microphone stood tall in front of him. He looked at the crowd. Familiar faces, whispering voices. He cleared his throat. "Good morning, everyone," he began. But before he could continue, a sudden burst of laughter echoed from the front row. A group of students was laughing loudly. Arjun's eyes moved toward them, and there he saw Rohit, sitting among them, whispering something to make them laugh even more. In that single moment, Arjun's confidence shattered. His mind went blank. His hands trembled. His voice disappeared. He stood there, frozen under the harsh light, as laughter grew louder around him. And then, quietly, he turned and ran off the stage. That evening, Arjun sat alone on the terrace of his house. The stars were bright, but his heart was heavy. Tears rolled down his cheeks as the memory replayed in his mind. Rohit's smile, the laughter, the stage, his silence. He whispered to himself, "Why did he do this to me? I trusted him. I believed him. Maybe English is not for me." The world around him was silent, except for the sound of the wind. As he sat there, lost and broken, an old voice interrupted his thoughts. It was his grandfather. The old man walked slowly, sat beside him, and placed a hand on his shoulder. "What happened, Arjun?" he asked gently. Arjun told him everything about Rohit, the stage, the laughter. The old man listened patiently. Then he said something Arjun would never forget. "My child, when someone betrays you, you have two choices. You can break down, or you can break your limits. Pain can destroy you, or it can become your greatest teacher. The words sank deep into Arjun's heart. He looked at his grandfather's wrinkled but wise face and felt something stir inside him, a quiet strength. The next morning, before the sun rose, Arjun stood in front of the mirror in his small room. His eyes were tired, but determined. He whispered, "I will learn. I will rise." From that day, his routine changed completely. Every morning, he practiced speaking in front of the mirror. He spoke slowly, then faster, repeating sentences again and again until they felt natural. He listened to English stories on a small borrowed radio. He copied their pronunciation. He read books aloud when nobody was around. His days were no longer filled with just schoolwork. They were filled with practice. His nights were no longer silent. They were filled with whispered sentences, repeated until his tongue no longer trembled. Months passed. Seasons changed. His progress was not sudden, but it was real. His vocabulary grew. His pronunciation sharpened. His confidence began to rise, not like a wave, but like the steady light of dawn. A year later, the annual elocution competition was announced again. When Arjun saw the notice on the school wall, his heart skipped a beat. Memories of that painful day flooded back. But this time he smiled. He registered his name once again. As the day arrived, whispers filled the school. Some students laughed, remembering his failure. Rohit smirked when he saw Arjun's name on the list. But Arjun remained calm. Backstage, he stood silently, eyes closed, breathing slowly. He wasn't the same boy anymore. His name was called. He walked on stage. Same hall. Same bright lights. Same microphone. But this time his voice was clear. "Good morning, everyone," he began. The audience fell silent. "Last year, I stood on this very stage, trembling, broken, lost. But today I stand here stronger. Because betrayal did not end my story, it began it." Every word flowed from his heart. His speech wasn't memorized. It was lived. He spoke about dreams, pain, perseverance, and transformation. He didn't rush. He didn't fear. When he finished, the hall erupted into applause. Teachers stood. Students clapped. Even Rohit, sitting in the front row, couldn't meet his eyes. That day, Arjun didn't just win the competition. He won something far greater. He won his voice. He won his confidence. He won himself back. His journey didn't end there. He continued learning, reading, and speaking every day. English became not just a language for him. It became a symbol of strength. And all of it began on the day he was betrayed. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening.